Hey, what's going on? We're doing a NumberMan deck feature today on the MegaMan TCG channel. Long time in the making. This is one of the first navies that came out of the game. It was in the first set. You know, NumberMan is a classic. Everyone is a big fan of him. It took a little while to come up with a deck for him just because he's not as obviously good as some of the others. His kit's not the best, like, as it is. And he also has, like, pretty awful stats and no effect. So took a little bit, but I finally came up with a deck that I think is really good and actually wins games. So excited to share that with you. I'm actually going to be covering him today, but also covering 3 other navies in the coming weeks. So I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek. So we'll be doing MegaMan Net City Defender. We're going to be doing an Airman deck, and we're going to be also doing Shadowman. Those are the only navies we haven't covered on this channel, so I'm really excited to get that. And you'll have a full roster of all the navies and how you can play them. There are some navies I will be revisiting just to kind of like update them. I feel like the deck lists have improved since the last time I uploaded a video, so definitely tune in for that. But yeah, today we're going to be getting into NumberMan. Before I get started, if it's your first time to the channel or you haven't already, we'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel, like the video. These are all really good for the algorithm to just put the video out towards anybody out there that's a MegaMan fan. There's a lot of people who just don't know that this card game exists. It came out in 2004, only ran for a couple of months, but it is a sweet game. A lot of us still love it. And I cover it on this channel, and I try to keep it alive. And also just letting other people know that it exists. That's kind of the idea with these videos. So yeah, if you can subscribe and like the video, that would mean a lot. So yeah, let's get started. This is our boy NumberMan. He's our Navi for the deck. So not a lot going on, just looking at him. He's 1/3/2. His colors are yellow and red. Yellow is great because that gives us control, and this deck is going to be very much a yellow deck. So you'll see that we are doing a completely yellow deck with some other like random stuff in there, but it's really a yellow deck because that's what's going to give him the punch that he normally doesn't have when you just try to play him as his kit. So that's our card. Obviously, that's our Navi. We'll go through the resources, we'll go through the battle chips, and we'll also go through the events as always. Since it's a yellow deck, you can probably guess we're going to be playing Boys Bomb 3. This is our win con, so in this deck it's going to be really easy to drop these. You've seen other Navis use this strategy. Yellow just has one of the best battle chips. This is it. And so we're going to be using that with our guy NumberMan today. So I'll show you how you can get to that with the deck build, but I just wanted to give you a quick sneak peek at the win con. So let's look at the resources really quickly. So NumberMan, I should say, has a lot of good yellows actually. So he's got counterattack. So this is one of the reasons we're leaning into the yellow build. He's got like good yellow cards. I think his red cards are actually not the best. So I think he's one of those navies where you don't necessarily want to play the entire kit. You got to choose which color you're going to go for. Some navies you can play the full kit no matter what colors they're in. Others you got to kind of decide. And I think he's one of those guys where you got to choose. Are you going to play the red side of him or the yellow side? So today we're playing the yellow side because he's got some good ones. This one is counterattack, 2 destiny, no power gauge requirement. And you spend to lose 2 energy to burn an opponent's power. So pretty good control card. We can burn the opponent's power gauge, keep them in check. And also just love that it's no power gauge requirements. You can just drop this the second you draw it. So really good stuff. We're going to be definitely leveraging that. So we're playing 4 of those. Next up, we've got a card that's probably on the opposite end in the sense that it takes a while to drop. So this is his other yellow card, Calculated, 4 destiny, but yeah, you got to get to turn 5. But it does have a pretty sweet effect, so it's kind of justified. So whenever you lose an energy, you may place that card in your power gauge. You may do this twice. So pretty cool. I'm going to show you some combos that kind of come into play with this, but essentially if you have cards like counterattack, for example, where you lose 2 energy, the 2 energy would go to your power gauge instead. So these two kind of just combo each other naturally, but there's so many other cards in our deck where there's a cost of like losing energy that you could just tap Calculated, and then the losing of the energy becomes filling of the power gauge, which is just busted. So yeah, this is why I wanted to turn him into a yellow deck. He's just got these really cool yellow cards, and it gives it like a unique spin that's very like, you know, only NumberMan can do some of these things because he's got these specific cards. So that's why I wanted to go that approach again. Since it's a yellow deck, you can imagine we're going to be playing Focus. You've seen this in pretty much every deck I've made because it's just like a good card regardless of what color you're playing. You lose 2 energy to power up. So if you draw this ideally turn 1, you could just get to turn 3 faster instead of turn 2 where you have to kind of wait. Where you could start playing your heavy duty cards So, and of course, because it loses 2 energy, as you can imagine, it works great with calculated. So you could potentially power up 3 times off focus once and then twice off calculated. So yeah, we're playing 4 of those. Next up, we've got some resource destruction, some control cards. So Cyber Warrior is a 4 destiny, no power gauge requirement. You burn 2 power to destroy an opponent's resource. So anything your opponent has, we could just kind of like get rid of it. So pretty straightforward. You could draw, no power gauge requirement is great. You can just drop it the second you draw it. So yeah, obviously going to play some of that. We are playing 4 Ready for Battle. So this is a 3 destiny, 2 power gauge requirement. You have to discard a yellow card to power up twice. Really, we want to get to turn 4, turn 5 as quickly as possible. So we can play things like Calculated, we can play our Boys Bomb, and yeah, so we want to be in charge of being able to power up as much as possible. And I'll show you some other cards that really kind of want us to do that. But yeah, again, it's just another yellow card. You could get to it, if you get to turn 2, you could just drop it, and then discarding yellow card means we could get to turn 4, turn 5 a lot faster. So yeah, we're going to be playing that for sure. We are also playing some viruses. So the way viruses work, if you're not familiar, is in most cases, well, in all cases, you can only have 1 copy of a resource with that name. So if you play Ready for Battle, you can't play a 2nd or 3rd Ready for Battle. Resources are unique in that sense. Viruses break that rule. So it even says it right here if you ever forget. Viruses are not unique. Whenever you play a virus, you may play another copy of that virus from your deck to the shelf of your deck. So this is a great the viruses are good because if you just want lots of a specific color on your board right away, you don't have to worry about drawing into them. You can just drop the 1 virus and then they just kind of multiply. Very similar to how they work in the game, right? So we want a lot of yellows on the board because it's just going to let us play our Boys Bomb and other crazy cards. So yeah, we're playing MagTech as a means to getting all the yellows we need on the board. So it also has a cool effect. All the viruses do. This one is lose 3 energy to place a card from your discard pile in your power gauge. So again, we just really want a control of our power gauge as much as possible. And yeah, you can stack like 5s and 4s so that when you're blasting with NumberMan, you're hitting high numbers and doing crazy damage. So yeah, we're playing 4 MagTechs for that reason. Next up, we've got some Smackdowns. So another staple for yellow, but also you just see this in every deck because it gives you the control of destroying your opponent's resources and just getting stuff off the board if it's getting in the way of your win con or any combo. So 5 Destiny, you got to get to turn 3 because of 3 power gauge requirement. But yeah, you discard 2 cards to destroy 2 of your opponent's resources. So kind of a no-brainer for our yellow deck here, but also just a good card overall. Like Focus, you could put this in any deck just to give yourself that control. Gotta get these in frame a little bit. Cool. And of course, we're going to be playing 3 elect teams. So 4 Destiny, no power gauge requirement. You do need a yellow on board before you can drop it. But during each of your draw phases, if the only resources in play are yellow, you may power up an additional time. So obviously, we have a lot of resource destructions with Cyber Warrior, Smackdown. There's technical difficulties, which we'll see in a bit. This will let us get rid of any colors on their side of the board so that our elect team is always live and we could just get the extra power up and get to those turn 4, turn 5 plays a lot sooner. So yeah, definitely gonna play 3 of these. You don't want to play 4. 4 tends to clog. 2 doesn't feel like it's enough. 3 is kind of the sweet spot, but your mileage may vary, so feel free to try and see what works best for you. We've got some green resources, so we are going to be playing 4 Woodman, and we are going to be playing 4 Glide. So these cards are, I'll just put these over here. Woodman it just lets you get any card from your discard pile into hand. So if our combo pieces are in our discard pile, we could just get those and fetch them and put them in our hand. Glide is take a card from your deck into hand. So they kind of like just cover all your tracks. Woodman gets you stuff from the discard pile if it ends up being there, and Glide helps you get it if it's still in your deck. So together they kind of help us just fetch our combo pieces a lot faster. We're going to be playing 4 of each, and believe it or not, we don't even need to necessarily get them on the board for them to work, because most of the time what we're going to be doing is, if you've seen some other videos I've done, you probably know what I'm about to drop, but we're going to be elect team activating. Elect Team Activating is a very busted yellow card. Let's see what it does. In case you haven't seen it, here's what it does. 5 Destiny, no power gauge requirement. You do need 2 yellows, but again, that's probably really easy for us, right? And then the effect is you discard an ally, could be Woodman, could be Glide, and you get to use its effect twice. So yeah, we're not even going to most of the time drop the Woodman or Glide on board. We're just going to let team activate, drop a Glide or drop a Woodman, and now you get twice that effect. So we get 2 cards from discard if it's Woodman, 2 cards from the deck if it's Glide. You could literally pick anything you want and just go to town on your opponent. So that's kind of like the big idea there. Obviously, it's always cool when you're getting 2 copies of Boys Bomb 3 and you're just going wham bam and just beating your opponent to a pulp. So that's always fun, right? You could do that for sure. What else can you do? You could do stuff like Method for Wellbeing. So you could play like Team Activate, get yourself a Virus or a Missing Yellow and get yourself to a board with 4 yellows and drop this. And this is a devastating card, one of my favorite cards. So it's a 5 Destiny. You do need 4 yellows, but again, with things like Elect Team Activate, Magtech, and all this yellow stuff, it's not really hard to pull off. And once those conditions are met, when you play it, you power up until your power gauge is full and you burn all of your opponent's power. So totally slants the game. It totally like neuters your opponent, and then it puts you in a position where you could just like crush them. And honestly, when you play like 2 of these, it's usually GG's. Like there's just no coming back from it. So really easy to pull off with the sort of setup we have here. And yeah, like most of the time you want to try to elect Team like your choices are going to be to elect Team Activate to get the Boys Bond 3 and crush them, or to just like devastate them with Method for Wellbeing and then slowly, whittle them to 0. We're also playing 4 technical difficulties, obviously, because it's a control card that works really well in the yellow deck. So very straightforward. It's a 4 Destiny, no power gauge requirement. You do need 2 yellows, but again, that's easy. And very straightforwardly, it lets you destroy a resource. So again, it just gives us that extra level of control, getting stuff off the board that may be getting in the way of our combos or win con. So that's why we're playing that. And we're also playing, last but not least, although you could say maybe at least, it is a meme card. I'm not going to lie to you. It's NumberMan. It's one of NumberMan's red cards. It's also considered one of the worst cards ever. When the first set came out, every Navi got an ultra rare that's like an event. Yeah, I think they're all events in that set. And NumberMan's is like notoriously bad because, well, let's read it. We can figure it out just by reading. So it's 5 Destiny, which is cool. You do need 3 emblem cards, which was really kind of standard for the Navi's ultra rare. Like all the events kind of worked that way kind of in the first set. And then his was kind of brutal because you need to get the 5 power gauge. And so the way it works is this. It's lose 3 energy and note the total of their destinies, and then you add that amount to your blessed destiny. So the reason why it sucks is you have to blast first to be able to stack blast destiny. You can't add blast destiny before you blasted. So the problem is if you get the 5, you then have to like blast for 2, which is his blast count. And then you have to find some way to not only have 3 emblem cards, but then you have to find a way to basically get back to power gauge 5 and then drop that. So it's a lot of jumping through hurdles just to get some extra damage in most cases. In this deck, it's actually not that hard to pull off because we have so many ways of powering up again. Really, you need to be able to have counterattack and calculate on the board with NumberMan, and any sort of yellow card that allows you to like power up again. And then what you can do is you drop it, you lose 3 energy, and then you stack whatever damage. So in this deck, it's actually very possible to do it. That being said, I am definitely just using it because it's a meme card. It's not as practical as you would think. There's probably better things you could play for sure. But I'm just having fun here, and I wanted to use a card that historically has been hard to use and has not been very like well received. So I just wanted to find an opportunity to finally use it. I found one. It's really possible to do it with this deck. So if you're like me and you're just having some fun and you want to just drop some funny, funny cards every now and then, this is a cool way. But otherwise, if you want to be a little more serious and find something more practical, you can totally swap it out for something else. You do you, but I like the best throw ever. It's kind of fun. And also it's a 5 Destiny, so you can stack it with Magtech and your power gauge to blast for 5. So yeah, so that kind of explains why that's there. It's just there for flavor. And yeah, that's pretty much our NumberMan deck. A really cool build. I tried making him work in red. It's a tough sell, I'll be honest. I'm still going to work at it. If I come up with something, I'll definitely share it with you. Let me know if that's something that interests you. If you want to see a red NumberMan deck, there are some good decks out there. They do a lot of damage. They just don't necessarily have a defense or control strategy. But if that's something you want to see, let me know in the comments and I'll gladly put it together and upload it for you. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video. I hope this gave you some ideas on how to play NumberMan and some more deck building ideas for your own strategies. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, but would love to invite you to please subscribe to the channel and like the video if it was great for you. Leave any comments if you have any questions or any videos you'd like to see. Leave that in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to jump in and help you out however I can. That's it for today, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care for now. Bye.